This is the Amyet V9 G60, and I normally do my unboxings outside, but we're looking at rain for the next few days, so I'm going to do this in here. And if I run into any problems during the assembly, I will document those and let you know. Here is our extra goodie box. We've got our charger, and it is a 2 amp charger. Got some folding passenger pegs, pedals, toolkit, and it looks like our user instruction manual and paperwork. There is about how it comes packaged from the factory. Yeah, this one is the most completely assembled moped style e-bike I think I've ever built. This one was not bad at all. I had to throw on the front wheel, put the handlebars on. Now I've got to do a couple things like put the front fender and the passenger pegs on, and I did have to put the pedals on, but besides that, really, this one was pretty easy. It went together pretty fast. Right here, we've got our passenger foot pegs, which I am never going to ride with a passenger, and I was having a little bit of trouble getting this one on the other side. Pretty tight fit. This one goes in through a couple holes on the other side. This is the right side. And the left side here, just you take these Allen head bolts out and put that right there, and that's where your passenger peg is going to be on this side. But I can guarantee you I'm never going to ride with a passenger, so I'm just going to bypass putting those on, but it does come with them. I'm just not going to use them.
All right, here we go down the trail to test the Amyet G60, and we're going to be testing this thing as fast as we can tonight because I am racing sundown. That's the bad thing about November in Ohio, testing these bikes after work, is that there is just no time to do it. So I'm going to be riding 16 miles today, hopefully, to test out the range. That sun is going down fast, but first we're going to knock out a few speed tests and see where we're at for that. But let's go through all the pedal assist levels. I'm in pedal assist level 1 now. Let's take off from a dead stop. Throttle only, and that gets us up to about 11.5 miles per hour. Assist level 2. And for what it's worth, I weigh 187 pounds. The bike weighs 84 pounds. Level 2 gets us up to about 17 miles per hour. Level 3 looks like 22 and a half. Level 4 it's a slow creep after 22. We're up to 24.3, 24.5. Looks like that's about where level 4 is capped out. And level 5, still staying in throttle only. Looks like about 24.9. And this is not good because I came out here with a full charge on the battery and it's reading about 55%. Now that could be voltage sag. Let me drop off and go down to level 3 now. It's come back up a little bit, so it probably is just sag. It's raising up to 60. All right, so we got our speed test out of the way. It looked like it capped out at about 25 and a half. Now, if you lift the wheel off the ground, this bike will, if you lift the wheel off the ground and have no weight on it, the rear wheel will register 32 miles per hour. So if you're lighter than I am, you could probably get it up to a little bit faster than 25 miles per hour. But Amyet claims that this bike has a 1,000 watt motor with 1,500 watt peak, so I'm going to say that that 25 mile per hour performance is not very good for a motor of that size. Anyway, this is a cheap e-bike, so I don't expect too much. I reviewed one other Amyet bike before, and it turned out to be a bit lackluster until I looked at the price, and it was actually pretty impressive for the price. Honestly, I haven't looked at the price on this one. I'll put the price for this one on the screen right now, and there are probably going to be Black Friday deals for this. I can't speak for that because I don't set the prices, but I will say the Amyet is kind of known for pushing out good deals at cheap prices. Now, one of the reasons the Amyet is able to keep their bikes so cheap is because they build them cheap, and we're going to do a brake test right now. And this bike does have line-driven disc brakes, and I believe they're 160 millimeter disc brakes. So not the best stopping power, but here we go. Here's our full stop. Now, to be fair, they are not bedded in yet. They're gonna get better over time, but with this bike weighing 84 pounds, me weighing 187 pounds, I would not expect the best performance out of these brakes even after they're bedded in. I'm gonna do a few more stops to hopefully get them bedded in, but by the end of the ride they should perform a little bit better. With that being said, I would not take this bike on city roads and expect it to be a decent commuter just because of the braking performance. They're definitely getting better the more I use them, but the performance in braking is a bit lackluster. Now, as I mentioned, they sell them cheap because they build them cheap. Here's another thing. Look at this. So when I took off on this ride, I had to turn around and go back and crank the stem down with Herculean might to get it to stop just wobbling back and forth. But this stem is cranked down as tight as I can get it, and it is still moving back and forth like that. So that is definitely something to keep in mind. It's a moderately cheap fix to change out the stem, and maybe a little bit more of an expensive fix to change out the handlebars, but it is definitely something to keep in mind, because when you have a high set of handlebars like this, your pivot point down here and your weight working against that pivot point, it does kind of make it easy for you to twist the handlebars. And like I said, I've got this thing cranked down as tight as I can possibly crank it down, and it's kind of annoying that if I come to a hard stop and my weight shifts forward, it's gonna swing those handlebars forward, or if I take off too hard, it's gonna pull the handlebars back. So just something to keep in mind. Now, with these high handlebars, it does make for a very comfortable ride. I've got a nice upright seating position here, and the seat is actually really cushy, and not that I would really expect to get much pedaling out of this bike. Once you get, say, past about 15 miles per hour, you're ghost pedaling on this bike, so you're really not able to put much back in pedal-wise. These moped style bikes, I found basically you're just kind of stuck using throttle on them anyway. They're meant to be ridden like little motorcycles, and that's how they're the most fun anyway. So seat to ground is good as far as height goes. It's really kind of aimed more at taller riders. I'm 5'10", and I flat foot this thing, like right on the line flat foot it. So if you get any shorter than me, you're gonna start drifting away from where that's comfortable. I'd say anybody under like 5'6" or 5'5" is probably gonna have a bit of trouble riding this bike, but anybody who is maybe 3-4 inches taller than me is gonna start to get to the point where they're gonna be way too tall for this bike. Been cruising along in pedal assist level 3, and that's 22 miles per hour according to this speedometer. I am going to drop down to pedal assist level 2 because I am not really sure that I trust that this is actually a 20 amp hour battery. It could be, but okay, so we're definitely getting some voltage sag. The battery is up to 96% after I let off, so with the battery reading like that, it contributes to some range anxiety. This has a 20 amp hour battery, so we should be fine. Like, yeah, look at this now. It says we're up to 100%. I would say that we're going to be able to go down the 8 miles, no problem, 8 miles back for the 16-mile ride in pedal assist level 3, but we will see how that shakes out. So Amyet claims this is a 1,000 watt motor with 1,500 watt peak. It could be, but there is definitely a bottleneck in power somewhere. It's probably the controller. With this being a 48 volt battery and having a 1,000 watt motor, there's definitely a weak link somewhere, and it's my guess that it's the controller. And the way that you get your wattage output is going to be your voltage times your amperage, and the amperage is controlled by the controller. So there is something that is keeping the battery from sending 1,000 watts of power back to that motor. This thing is not peppy. I just had to go up into pedal assist level 5 and outrun a dog that was kind of chasing me down. I didn't get that on video, but as you can see, after I was pushing it hard, the battery level dropped down to like 30%. It's building back up now, but yeah, the way the battery reads on this, it definitely contributes to my range anxiety. And this bike should take us a pretty long ways because it is supposedly a 20 amp hour battery. I'm actually surprised that a bike this cheap does have a 20 amp hour battery. It kind of makes me call into question whether or not it actually is a 20 amp hour battery. Yeah, we're at 27% on the battery life now, but if I stop, it's going to start building up. And it builds up fast. So jumped up to 45%, now up to 60%, now up to 64%. But when you're cruising down the road and it's dropping like that, it really kind of makes you a little bit nervous. So the sun is definitely setting pretty fast here, so I'm happy that I've got headlights and turn signals and a good tail light with this bike. And also we've got a USB port here to charge phone devices if we would need to. So that's a nice addition. So I mentioned already that this has really tall handlebars and that causes problems with the stem. Well, in addition to the tall handlebars, it's also got a really tall stem, and I don't really see that as necessary. As a matter of fact, it makes this bike so tall that it's a bit difficult to haul around, so your portability factor on this bike is not the best. I mean, if you have a minivan like I do, if you have something with like shorter handlebars and a shorter stem, it makes things a lot more convenient to just be able to stand the bike up inside the vehicle. So if you're looking for something like that, this is definitely not the bike for you. You know, one thing I didn't consider doing up to this point was testing the accuracy of the built-in speedometer. So I'm going to test it against GPS now, and I'm just going to do a simple test in pedal assist level 3, throttle only. Here we go. This bike is top heavy, and with these tall handlebars, it is not fun to steer with one hand. It looks like it's fairly accurate within a mile per hour. The built-in speedometer is reading 22 miles per hour, and the GPS is reading 21 miles per hour. So it's close enough for horseshoes and hand grenades. For our range check-in, we're at 6 miles on the odometer. I am going to drop down to pedal assist level 2 because we're at 52% on our battery now, and I got to go 2 more miles down and then 8 miles back. So I feel like I'm probably going to burn through the battery too fast at this rate I'm going. I was going about 21, 22 miles per hour. So we're going to just continue on at like, I think 18 miles per hour. Because it's burning through this battery pretty fast and it's making me a little bit nervous. Yeah, we're going to continue the rest of the trip at 17 miles per hour. So yeah, here in pedal assist level 2, running at 17 miles per hour, we're at 29% on the battery. And we got to go down another 2 miles, turn around, come back. That makes me a bit nervous. Now, going 17 miles per hour as opposed to going 21, 22 miles per hour, dropping that 4 to 5 miles per hour really does make a big difference in how long you can extend your battery life. Going that extra 5 miles per hour will really chew through your battery pretty fast. Speed definitely kills range. Yeah, I'm highly doubting that this is a 20 amp hour battery. It says it is, but I don't believe it. So here's one other thing I do like about this bike. I'm going over a pretty bumpy section of this trail, and this part is known for really kind of rattling your teeth a bit. This does have a really nice suspension. It looks like a pretty cheap suspension. It's a spring suspension there in the middle, but it does have some preload adjustment, and right out of the box it feels like it's set just right for me. All right, we are at the 8-mile mark, and here is a hill climb test, and as I stopped, the power shot up to 39%. I'm going to go up to pedal assist level 5. We're going to do a throttle only hill test. This isn't a major hill, but there is a hill here, I promise you. The fisheye of the action camera distorts the hill and makes it look like it's much less of a hill, but if you compare it to the railroad tracks over there, you can see that there's definitely something here. I'll tell you, this bike is not really what I would consider going to be a strong hill climber, but so if you're gonna do that kind of riding, this might not be the bike for you. But here we go. We're gonna go up this hill. The bike weighs 84 pounds. I weigh 187. Throttle only, pedal assist level 5. Here we go. And it's climbing right up this minor hill with no problems whatsoever. All right, so that's the midpoint of our test here. I've turned around to head back. We put 8 miles on the bike so far. When I get back, we should have about 16 miles on it roughly. And when we get back to the beginning of the ride, I will report in for our final range test. So my final thoughts on the Amyet G60. Well, it's a cheap bike built with cheap parts at a cheap price. And if you're okay with that and you can keep your expectations low, you might be all right with buying this thing. I would say that keep your expectations low and keep the limitations in mind and keep a steady toolkit within reach at all times, and be ready to do some wrenching, and you'll probably be okay with this bike. But if you are looking for absolute perfection and quality parts, this is not the bike for you. All right, so I had to drop down into pedal assist level 1 here, and we're going to be going back at about 12 miles per hour for the next 7 miles. I just ticked over 9 miles, and the battery meter in pedal assist level 2 dropped down to, it was dropping down, rapidly dropping under 10% and losing from there. So I went down to pedal assist level 1. I am pedaling to help it out, but I really do not want to pedal this 84-pound bike under my own power. So as far as that 20 amp hour battery goes, it's like this. It's either not a 20 amp hour battery, or it's the worst 20 amp hour battery in the history of e-bikes. So that is my conclusion on that thing. It is getting dark and cold, and I got a long way to go at this speed time. Amyet, you let me down. All right, according to this mile marker here, we got 3 miles to go. I'm at 24% on the battery, 25% if I'm just sitting here not doing anything. But the moment I crack back on that throttle, that thing starts to plummet. I am going to go up to a higher speed level and try to get back a little bit faster, because I planned on being done with this ride like 45 minutes ago. So here we go for making some drama. The stakes are higher. Yeah, this is not good. The screen is like flashing here, and it's probably giving me some kind of warning that the battery is dropping. So we've only got 3 miles to go. I'm going to risk it. I'm just going to see if we can make it back. We're at 10% right now. I'm going to drop off and pedal a bit. Oh, we're teetering between 6 and 7%, and we got about a mile and a half to go. Oh, it just dropped to 5%. All right, we got about a mile to go, and I had to drop back down to level 1 because in level 2 we were down to like 1%. I am very, very glad that I brought my heated jacket and heated gloves tonight. Oh boy. All right, we are almost back to the beginning. We are teetering between 3 and 2% on battery life, holding a steady 11.7 miles per hour, and it is cold out here. Yeah, once the sun goes down this late in November in Ohio, it gets pretty chilly pretty quick. But here we are back to the trailhead, 2% battery life left, and I am very surprised that we made it with any battery life left at all. So, like I said previously, this thing is either not a 20 amp hour battery, or it's the worst 20 amp hour battery ever to hit production, or I just got a dud. But no matter how you slice it, this is a junker.